Howdy! I have not retweeted a goddamn tweet for tonight, but guess what? The Yankees just hit a grand slam, and that's what matters the most. Welcome to the Pinfall podcast. It is not about baseball.
Thank God.
Was I too loud for that?
A little bit, yeah.
I got a little hyped up. I'm sorry. It's blown out. Top of the ninth. What can I say? Also, just want to note, I'm not wearing concealer, and I'm realizing that is the one thing that makes me look the least tired. So, welcome to the I Look Like I Died and Came Back to Life podcast as well. I'm your host, Liz, and I am joined, as usual, by my lovely, some might say endearing, some might say life-preserving co-host, Mark.
No.
Well, Pete's might.
No.
I figured Pete's good. Oh, you feed her.
No.
Oh, you don't?
She feeds herself.
Weird. I always seem to see you putting food in her bowl.
Well, she has a gun to my head.
We'll do it. Or rather, teeth to your leg.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm pulling my hair back because the hair down look was a little too undead.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this will make me look like a spry young spring chicken. Oh God, I'm exhausted. I'm starting to feel sick again, which is awesome. So
nice.
Morning, I'm dying. Halfway through the day, I'm like, fun again. And then at night, I'm like, nope, it's all a lie. We're never having fun.
Do you want to jump into the news?
I was just going to say happy Raw Day to you.
Oh, well, Raw Day.
Yeah, I want to jump into the news. I also want to jump into... Open this off for a second.
Oh boy, you're lagging a lot. Yeah, you're all black right now. Okay. You're covering.
I cleaned my screen off my camera. So at least maybe then I won't look as bad and washed out.
You couldn't see all of the marks with the laggy quality right now.
Okay. Shall we jump into the news?
Yeah.
I'm dying to talk to you about the news.
You're frozen.
That's fine. Live.
I thought we were moving to the
like
news.
A person. We are. The news is that I look like a corpse.
Normally, you're supposed to do that before a show starts.
The problem was that when I realized that you could talk, I accidentally gave you the thumbs up to signal I can hear you. Because I didn't know what else to do. And the moment I did, I was like, fuck. So. All right. Welcome to the news. I am a professional newscaster now. Shockingly, not that much to talk about today. And almost maybe for the best. Not that much to talk about.
No news is good news.
Yeah, especially nowadays. First things first, Barstool Sports CEO was elected to the WWE Board of Directors, and it's a lady. So
She can still be as awful as a man.
I was going to say, the WWE can make questionable decisions now, but at least it's a lady.
Stephanie McMahon is also a lady.
Stephanie's just sitting back like, all right. Sure. Why not? But I mean, I can't even say like, oh, well, at least it's a good sign that like they're hiring people again. Because it's like a board of directors, or not hiring, but like electing people to things and shit like that, making plans for like the future. Because like it's a board of directors, like they never got hurt by this anyways.
Yeah. They benefited from this.
It's just so funny to me that like there have been so many like, I mean, with Black Wednesday, with everyone getting released, it's like the ratings for WWE were really good last quarter, and they've been okay for this quarter. And a lot of people, including like I know Sean Ross was saying something along the lines of like, So were those cuts really needed? Did you really have to do that? In the midst of a pandemic?
They saved money by just working in the Performance Center.
Yeah, and I don't know why they would go and waste money when they're in desperate need of talent right now by going over to the Amway Center.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially when they just proved last night, and it may be in like less of an aesthetically pleasing fashion, but they proved that they can do the exact same thing that they're doing with the Thunderdome at the Performance Center. So,
I mean, it doesn't look as grand as the Thunderdome. Like, the Performance Center, how it looked at TakeOver, was still very underground, grungy, like how NXT is normally.
True. I mean, that's true. Also, it felt very claustrophobic with like just like 3 walls of like screens of faces.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, speaking of NXT, Wade Barrett could come out of retirement to fight Drew.
And moving on.
I think that like Wade just retired and then he started doing NXT commentary and he was like, I want to fight. Pooh.
I just want to see. I want to see a moment where some wrestlers like getting all like into shit, and then one commentator just has enough and decks him in the face. That's what I want to see, and I hope that's Wade Barrett.
I wouldn't mind seeing it, to be fair. I can imagine that they would have very good chemistry going into that, so I would love to see that. But also, it makes me laugh because like Wade just signed as a commentator like a month ago, 2 months ago now, and he's like, but these fists, what are they gonna do? I can't fight Vic. Maybe Beth, but like she scares me. I never see her. I don't even know if she's actually at the fucking Performance Center.
Remember, Liz,
anyway.
This isn't a baseball podcast.
Oh, I know it's not, but my God, if it were. Again, speaking of NXT, we talked about this yesterday, but I wanted to make an official news part of it, like news mention. Actually, sorry, 90% of this news is NXT related. My bad. But there's 2 things that we mentioned yesterday, and I just want to make it into here, just because I was filling space. NXT Halloween Havoc was announced for October 28th, which is going to be so fucking cool. I'm so fucking excited. They have so many goddamn people on that roster that could be scary as shit to make it like the perfect Halloween show.
And they have Ember Moon now.
The ideal Halloween performer.
Karrion Kross.
Ember, Shotzi. If Karrion's still alive, Karrion. Dexter. Killian's horrifying. He frightens me every goddamn day. Rhea. Damien, I guess. I don't know.
Damien, Io.
I think it helps that a lot of like the people on NXT are kind of like gritty.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Like October 28th could not come sooner. And I hate doing that because then like I force myself through an entire month again and suddenly it's November and I'm like.
So if you're ever wondering why time is moving too fast and we're just flying through the months, blame Liz.
It is probably my fault. I don't know why, but I'm just going to blame myself too. I'm sorry. Then, in addition to news that we already kind of talked about, but just to put a cap on it, Kyle has broken teeth after his match. Finn probably has a fractured face after his match. If this results in him having to hand over the title, a la Karrion Kross, I'm going to scream. But the fact that they maintained composure for that last little promo at the end, kind of impressive.
I'm never going to get over Bobby asking Finn if he's seen who did this.
And Orton's just casually sitting there with like his knee up, like, no, I didn't actually. I also can't speak because my face is broken. I'm excited for Wednesday. I'm looking forward to Wednesday. And then in our second to last piece of news and our final piece of NXT-based news, WWE may have accidentally let it slip that NXT will be part of the draft.
What?
Yeah. So, basically, there was a tweet, and I think this you can still see this particular tweet on WWE's Twitter, just promoting the draft and saying, who are your first round draft picks with a slot for WWE Raw, like semicolon, and WWE SmackDown underneath that semicolon. The original format of that tweet had WWE NXT under SmackDown. Which, to be fair, could have just been a flub on somebody's part, like something stupid. It could have been something where they were like, oh, people are going to see this and start questioning. They're smart. Or in something that I don't really know if I want it to be true or not, it could have been a genuine mistake because they didn't realize that they had not announced it yet. Or didn't want to announce it that way.
When was this tweet made?
So, that's possible. I think this was a day or two ago. It had to be between a day or two. I probably saw it on Wrestle Talk, because I think I only got one piece of news from Cultaholic today. I believe it's the last one.
Okay.
So, I'm not sure. I kind of don't want NXT to be part of the draft. I kind of want them to stay in their separate little island for now, because leave NXT alone.
I kind of want NXT.
They're doing the most.
I want them to be part of it just because I want to see some of these people helping out in the main roster. I feel like their talents are very much needed there.
Right. Sorry, I just gotta grab cord. Right. I think that in equal turn, having some people from NXT moving up would be good.
Mm-hmm.
And would be good for everybody as a whole, especially SmackDown, where they're kind of dying for women's talent.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm just like, please don't touch any of them. Just let them live, let them be.
Yeah.
I don't want to see the balance upset, I guess. So remains to be seen, and we have 4 days to find out at this point.
Yeah, 4 days.
So, final piece of news. This isn't really news or anything. I just want to talk about it. Paige tweeted, I believe, either today or yesterday, that she's been reading up on unionizing. And frankly, that just reminds me of like when I was in elementary school and we all hated like a substitute teacher, so we got together to write a petition to make the school not hire them again.
Oh.
Okay, to be fair, I watched a teacher slap a kid once, and I said, there's only like 6 yes, you can get away with that. But that said, never worked. I don't know if there's any real promise to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, yeah, bitch. Unionize. I want to see that happen. Vince McMahon will absolutely be like, we'll just hire a bunch of other nincompoops.
Yeah.
I don't care.
We have an entire NXT roster to pull from.
And I don't think that she is the best person to be in charge at this time. Just because, not really active.
I think that makes her the best person to be leading this, because she's not even like working for them and they're still trying to control her.
More so what I mean is that, like, if she were to say, fuck it, I'm not coming back then. On for months. Like, it's not going to be, like, the biggest blow to them as if, like, Roman Reigns was like, I'm not coming back. Or some shit like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Remains to be seen. But yeah, sadly, that's all I got for news. There's nothing really special happening. Nothing that we haven't talked about recently. WWE's gotten boring since everyone stopped getting sick from COVID. And AEW started staying in their lane because they made that one news article where they were like, we don't talk that much about WWE. And now it's just Miro, who just spends his days talking about all the people that were mean to him. And I'm like, I get it, but...
Well, it's also everyone's asking him about it.
Yeah. I did have a moment, though, today where I kind of thought about it, and I was like, you know, we made fun of Chris Jericho for that Fozzy concert that, like, in South Dakota or whatever, that got, like, 1,009 people sick. And not that what happened with NXT and the COVID outbreak is necessarily to blame for the entire COVID outbreak that ended up happening.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, every time I see, like when we saw, like, the people without masks on at TakeOver, I was like, I feel a bit like the pot calling the kettle black now when I make fun of that. Unfortunately. I don't like being in that position. But alas, would you like to hop along into our whiplash of a fucking show tonight?
So there's a lot to talk about here. And I probably forget a lot of the stuff that happened early on, but
this is why you have me. But also,
we started off with a what are you making that face for?
I don't have a sign up.
My God, you take so long.
Do you have any more complaints that you want to make?
The sign's crooked.
If this weren't Monday Night Raw, I would walk in there and just slap you silly.
Alright, so we started off with a promo featuring Randy Orton. Where he is in a dark room talking about his experience at Clash and how he doesn't remember the ambulance ride, but he remembers everything during the fight. Somehow he remembers Ric Flair driving the ambulance, even though he never saw Ric Flair and was out for the whole ambulance ride. But, you know.
I'm sure I'd think that was a hallucination if I were him. At that point, I'd just be like, no, that couldn't have happened.
He just heard the woos from the driver's seat.
Oh, yeah.
And then he basically just kind of just called out Drew again, starting up another challenge, and then we had Drew come into the room that he's recording in, start beating him up, and then I think this is where we lead into Hell in a Cell match, or that's later on when they confirm it.
Randy challenged him in his initial tirade, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we now have Drew versus Randy at Hell in a Cell, for the third time.
Are you shocked? Are you blown away?
And then we move on to the first match.
Oh, Jesus, yeah, don't we?
Yep.
So, welcome to the first match, aka when my laptop shit the bed, and I didn't take any notes. But I took like one or two. And by that I mean several, but... basically, it's Zelina and Natty and Lana versus Mandy, Dana, and Asuka. We have Dana versus Natty to start. Dana handsprings over Natalya. Again, laptop shit the bed. Couldn't quite see what happened. She got Mandy in. They worked together to do like a kind of a team belly to back suplex. Then Zelina's in. She does an abdominal stretch to Mandy. Mandy's in. She goes for the sharpshooter, but Mandy kicks her off. Then there's a hip attack to Vega after Asuka gets in, and then Asuka takes down Lana. She sends some knees to Lana's face and then covers, but the cover is broken up by Natty. And then Dana comes in to attack Natty for interfering on the cover, and Asuka gets caught up in the ropes because it's a match with Asuka. What did you expect? Did you not expect her to get caught up in the ropes? Because if you didn't, sorry.
I hate that they're stuffing Asuka in the storyline. She feels like she doesn't belong at all. It feels so out of place.
It's just, you have so many singles women that you shoved into tag teams. And admittedly, I was complaining because there wasn't enough women's tag teams. Now we have too many and not enough women's singles members for Asuka to just fucking fight someone, because apparently Mickie James is just absolutely fucked off.
Well,
she's not in the building anymore.
Well, we've got Mickie James. I've sworn there were other singles Raw women wrestlers.
Yeah, Natty and Lana.
I guess Mandy and Dana too.
Zelina.
Bianca, yeah. Although they're just having Bianca be featured in promos now.
I would give somebody like $500 fucking dollars to just put her in a goddamn match.
You said 100.
Somebody like, yeah, I've upped the ante. Quite literally, if like a WWE writer just came like into my like inbox and was like, "I did it, pay up," I'd be like, "Sure, have fun, you earned it, baby." However,
after that, we move into. Was there more in the fight?
A little bit.
Okay.
Sort of, I guess.
Right.
I want to go through the entire fight with us like remembering certain points and just the yeahs and the ohs all right. Just want a super cut of that. So Asuka's caught up in the ropes. Mandy interferes with a pump. Okay, yeah. So Asuka's caught up. Mandy steps in, sends a pump knee strike to Lana. That's obviously the finisher. She covers, I think. She win. Asuka and Mandy and Dana win. Okay, that's as much as you were gonna get from the fight, anyways. It's as much as I'm gonna give you now. Then Nia Jax and Shayna come out. They leave Asuka alone for the first time ever. Mandy and Dana, they all go off merrily. They're, for whatever reason, targeting Natty and Lana. Dana just absolutely fucks off. She sees them and she's like, "It's been nice working with you, ladies. Bye." They corner Natty and Lana, and then Nia headbutts Natty, clear the table. They lift Natty up, and then Lana goes to protect Natalya from being Samoan dropped into the announce table, thus getting herself Samoan dropped into the announce table. Much like we saw 2 weeks ago.
And before that. They just hate Lana.
I don't get it, dude. I mean, like, yeah, she annoys me too with like all the fucking TikTok comments, but like, she's alright.
It's because she cheated on Rusev with Bobby.
If anything, they should love her for that, considering what Miro has to say about WWE. Anyways, we have 2 promos. If not more, I don't.
3.
Oh, okay.
So we had R-Truth backstage with his mock draft, and let's just go over the names real quick of everybody in that mock draft real quick. Let me try and find it. I had a picture of it a second ago. Let's see. Can I find it? It should be just about not there. Okay, I guess I can't find it. That's unfortunate.
I know that little Jimmy's going to SmackDown.
Little Jimmy's going to SmackDown. R-Truth is staying in Raw.
Mr. McMahon, who actually I think Mr. McMahon references Shane because Shane's on Raw right now.
No, Mr. McMahon is Vince McMahon's wrestling name.
Oh. I didn't realize that we're using actual wrestling names at this point. Actually, well, they did do Brother Love, so that's fair.
Let's see. Ninja number 1's going to SmackDown. Ninja number 2 is going to Raw.
Yeah, splitting them up.
I think Sumil Singh is going to Raw. Who else was it? Oh, the other Carmella is going to Raw.
Road Dogg's going to Raw.
Yes, he's going to Raw. Also, God knows whoever the other Carmella is.
I think he means the new one. I think he just wants his Carmella back.
You don't think he means Alexa Bliss?
If he does, fine.
Or Dana Brooke?
She's already there.
Oh, where is it? I had it like a few minutes ago. I'm determined now. This is gonna kill me. This is gonna be what kills me. Alright, well, I guess we're giving up on this, but yeah.
I can try to find it while I go through the next match.
Yeah, so he goes over the mock draft, and then he tells little Jimmy, look, I hate to be separated, but you know what? It's best for you and me if we do that. And then there's a janitor behind him. He turns around, or a ref comes up to him and he's like, what are you doing here? Turns around and sees the janitor. Randy Orton! But he's pinned by the janitor, and it turns out to be Drew Gulak, winning the 24/7 I-95 South 7-Eleven 365 They Made Me Watch All Episodes of Reno 911 title. Once again.
And then Drew Gulak runs. He's running off. It's the most pure. See you next fall.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
All right.
And then after that, we had a promo featuring Mustafa, Ricochet, Apollo Crews, and MVP. What?
You're forgetting their stable name, Chip Skylark and his shiny teeth.
His shiny teeth and me.
Okay.
But yeah, so they're approached by MVP, who tries to coax them into joining her business again. And says, look at Cedric. He was getting beaten up. And then he joined the Hurt Business, and look at his career now. We haven't seen him in 2-3 weeks, but he's fine.
Cedric's dead.
And then the three of them walk away, but Ricochet kind of looks back and is like, And then we cut to Seth and Murphy talking in the ring. And my God, this is a roller coaster of emotions here. Not good ones, all bad ones. I don't even really understand. I can't. I blacked out for this, I think. I think Seth slapped Murphy at one point. Do you remember anything that happened? This killed brain cells. Oh, I found the mock draft. All right, real quick before we get into this, the mock draft going to SmackDown. Ninja number 1, Mercy the Buzzard, Little Jimmy, Sam Roberts, whoever that is, Mr. McMahon,
Sam Roberts is one of the annoying. He's one of the guys that does pay-per-views.
Oh, okay. Then that'll make another one make sense. Charlie Caruso, Sister Abigail, and Brother Love. Going to Raw, Ninja number 2, Huskus, R-Truth, Michael Cole, Peter Rosenberg, Road Dogg, the other Carmella, and okay, it's Rajan Singh. I can't see this so clearly, but that's what it looks like.
His handwriting is not very good.
Yeah, even though it's definitely not his handwriting.
So do you really not remember parts of this fucking promo?
No, I don't remember anything about this.
Okay. Because you will. So Murphy's not going to hand over the microphone. He's holding it for whatever reason. Murphy's holding the microphone first. And Seth's just like, give me the fucking microphone. And Buddy's like, yeah, see, I'm feeling like a little sentimental here. I feel like I got to say something. So he says he has to get something off his chest. And what he has to get off his chest is that he wants Seth to apologize to Aaliyah, which when you have to get something off your chest, it's a secret. Anyways.
Hold on. You lagged through that last bit of it.
You lagged too. That's okay. What was the last thing I said?
Wanted to apologize to Aaliyah.
Off his chest.
You lagged through all that too. Maybe close some of those tabs you got. You got a lot of tabs open.
I've closed like half of them. I've closed half of them. Anyways. So, let's see if we can get through this. This makes Seth pissed off. Seth then goes on a rant. I believe you don't remember. Where he just turns to Murphy and goes, Messiah? Or Messiah? Disciple. Messiah? Disciple.
I remember.
And Mark and I turned to each other at the exact same fucking time.
For those of you who watch SNL, should know.
Which we don't.
The debate between Sa and Za. Pizza, Sa. Lasagna, Zanya, Za. It's a James Franco skit on SNL. And the way that Seth Rollins was saying, Messiah, disciple, was the exact same inflection.
And then he kept fucking doing it.
During the match, too.
After we made the connection, anytime he fucking did it, I was like, I'm not gonna get through this one, God. That's why I was like, I can't believe he's not remembering this part. Alright, so anyways, Humberto and Dominic were kind enough to hold off their attack until after Seth made these distinctions between his and Murphy's placements in one another's lives. So then they come out, they immediately attack the guys. Murphy peels Dominic off of Seth, who's got him in the corner. And then there's a neck breaker on Buddy from Dominic. Humberto drop kicks him. Then they do that thing that's kind of cool that they like to do together. Dominic jumps off the top buckle, Humberto goes over the top rope, and they land on Buddy and Seth outside of the ring. A little crisscrossy. And the bell actually rings and the fight has finally started. Because none of that was actually part of the fucking fight. We start with Dominic and Seth. There's some forearms to Dominic and just like a really messy cover from Seth, who like it looked like he had 41 hands going into that one. He was just like but Dominic gets up and Seth jabs him, then Axe handles his back. Buddy tags in on Seth because Seth won't tag him in, which, to be fair, it's only been like 5 seconds into the match, so calm down. My personal opinion. But Buddy tags in on Seth, who's like, okay, sure. He stomps Dominic's head for a while. Seth tags in on Buddy. And then Dominic knocks Murphy off the apron. Seth raises Dominic into a gutbuster. When he kicks out, Seth gets a waist lock on him and then does an abdominal stretch. Dominic powers out, gets a jawbreaker on Seth, and then Seth pulls off the sling blade on Dominic. Somehow, in the process of the sling blade, Murphy managed to tag himself in. This, again, makes Seth pissed off. The distraction allows Dominic a chance to tag Humberto in. Humberto dives onto both men off the top buckle. He sends just a massive goddamn dropkick to Murphy. Seth is trying to kind of distract for a little while. Murphy tries to cover, and I was like, okay, we're working together again. Good. Let's go, guys. And there's a DDT to Humberto, and Dominic breaks the cover. Seth tries to throw Dom out of the ring, so Dom attacks him. Dom slams Seth's face into the barricade, and Murphy says, hey, that's my Messiah. He reminded me today. So he sends Dominic over the barricade, which you would think is when Seth would be like, oh, hey, you just saved my fucking ass. Thanks. But instead, he just screams at Murphy, I don't need you. I don't need your help. I never needed you. Essentially, fuck off. Which I said, that's not how we make friends. That's not the business Seth is in. So they're arguing. Humberto dives off the top rope onto both of them for a second time, sending them both backwards into the barricade. Humberto gets back in, back into the ring. He goes off the top rope to attack while Murphy's standing in the corner. Murphy lifts a knee and smacks Humberto in smacks. I think I said snacks. Smacks Humberto in the face to win. And then Seth's like, hey, that's my buddy. He just won. Good job, champ. You got it for us. And Murphy just fucking walks off and mutters like, you don't need my help. You don't need my help. As he's like walking out. I was like, okay. Sad. Sad face.
So
onward.
After that, we had Adam Pearce. What happened with Adam Pearce? I also forget this one too. Oh, I remember seeing Adam Pearce and that. Oh, no, okay. So Adam Pearce is approached by Braun Strowman, and Braun says, "Look, I know there's no Raw Underground, but you gotta give me a match, or I swear to God, I'll rip your legs off." And he's like, "All right, well, you know what? I'll do the best I can do, but look, I can't promise anything." He walks away. Yeah. He walks away. I was trying to say out and away at the same time. And Keith Lee walks in and says, "Hey, I'll fight you." And that's it. And they go on their merry way. And then also, what?
Never give me time to give my 2 cents.
Oh, sorry.
First of all, Braun walks away. Adam doesn't. Adam stands around.
Oh.
Because it's just so sweet that Adam is approached by Braun in such a hostile manner, and Adam's like, I can't really do much for you. I'm sorry. And then Braun's just like, figure it the fuck out, and leaves. And then Keith's like, hey, do me. I'll do it. I want to fucking get in there. Adam's just like, sure, I guess. I don't care anymore, guys. Tear the whole place down. I'm tired. I've broken up 3 fights already today. I don't care.
And then after that, we have promo with Murphy and Seth. Where, let's see, let me try and remember exactly what happened. I think this was more threatening between. Oh no, this is where Murphy says to Seth, because this is a big moment. He says, "I need you to apologize to me. I'm going to give you, what was it, an hour to apologize?" until 10 o'clock to apologize. And if not, what am I going to do? And so they walk away, blah, blah, blah. Seth's probably laughing as that's happening.
He says the thing. He says the thing.
Oh, yeah, he says, I'll see you in hell in a cell.
He doesn't say that. He says, if you don't apologize, there will be hell to pay. And I said, I apparently made a comment when he said that, like, hell in a cell. And then 20 minutes later, I'm looking through my tweets, and I see the quote, and I was like, oh, Mark, he just set us up for a match. And Mark just looks at me like, all right, sweet child.
And then after that, we had the KO show, kind of. Supposed to be the guest of Bray Wyatt. But Bray Wyatt phones in from the Firefly Funhouse after Kevin Owens is like, we're not going to have a normal sit down. In fact, we will need these chairs. So he throws out the chairs, he throws out the easel, and then basically says, yeah, floor's open, Bray. Bray calls in from the Firefly Funhouse. The rabbit is eaten by the buzzard.
Mercy, no!
Mercy, yes. And God, Bray kind of, I don't even know exactly what the bottom line of what Bray was talking about was, but he mentioned he and her, meaning Alexa Bliss and The Fiend, and how they won't be happy about a certain thing that Kevin Owens was saying. And it was basically just big talk. Probably foreshadowing either Bray coming to Raw or Kevin Owens going to SmackDown. And then Kevin Owens in the ring is like, after Bray ends the call, Kevin Owens says, I'm not going to wait around and wait for him come here. I'm going to go to the Firefly Funhouse and fight him. And as he's walking up the ramp, we get a Alistair out of nowhere, decking him in the back of the head, and then crisscross applesaucing right next to his corpse. And that wraps up the KO show, or what was supposed to be.
Sorry, did you just skip over the song?
Oh, there was a song. Yeah. Do you remember the song?
Yeah,
Do you want to sing it for us?
I could probably sing it about as well as they sang it. It really reminded me. It threw me back to the fun song in SpongeBob.
Oh. F is for friends who do stuff together. U is for you and me. N is for anywhere and anytime and all down here in the deep blue sea. How the fuck do I remember that song?
I had an alarm clock that whenever you said it, that's what it would play.
Wow.
So if you want to know why I can't wake up to any other alarm ever again, it's because I had to wake up to that for a while, and now anything else is just baby shit. Imagine the first thing you hear is SpongeBob SquarePants' grating fucking voice.
How dare you? I love SpongeBob's voice. But also nothing's better than Plankton's version, which was F is for 5 that burns down the whole town. U is for uranium bombs. N is for no survivors when you... And then it cuts off.
Plankton? Oh, God. We need to get out more.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like, Bray's always pretty good at cutting a promo, but, like, pretty sure either Bray was incredibly high, which I doubt. I think Bray made himself cry for this promo, because Bray's like, "Oh, you're my new best friend! Like, we're best friends now! Yay, best friends!" And Kevin's like, "No, we're not actually." And then Bray calls him a bully, after singing that song, I believe. When Kevin says that they're not friends. And then Bray's eyes get so glassy and bloodshot, and I was like, scary, okay. Is he vibing? And then he, like, blinks, and you can, like, see, like, a tear in the corner of his eye, and I was like, sir?
The man has talent.
Didn't need that today. I know I've gone through a lot of friendship breakups in this fucking company here, but, like, that one hurt a lot. It was like Dexter Lumis and Dream, which, thank God, Dexter Lumis got dissed by him, because I don't know what I would have done. But yeah, Alistair, even if he's not being talked about, he's still just like, "But I'll make you."
Yeah.
Hello, welcome to Alistair time. And I was like, all right, fine.
And then moving on from there, we had an interview with Drew McIntyre that WWE called an exclusive interview with the champion. Primarily, Charlie said, what was it, Charlie? Okay. Charlie said she had questions for him. And then Drew said, "I know your questions, so I'm just going to answer them right now." And then just went off about Randy. Condemned what he did to the legends. Talked to him directly. Accepted the match at Hell in a Cell. Do you remember if there was anything else?
I mean, yeah, basically at the end of that, he just says, like, "When I'm done with you, I'm not gonna send you to the hospital. I'm gonna send you to hell." And I said, "I get it, because it's Hell in a Cell." Good job, buddy. I just thought it was fucking hilarious how, like, it's supposed to be an interview, and Drew doesn't get interviewed super often unless, like, he's pissed off walking back from a match or something. Just the fact that he was like, "I know what questions you're gonna ask. 1, blah blah blah. Yes." He's asking himself the questions. He's answering the questions. Then he's going off on his own, like, little promo spree. And I was like, this man can't be stopped. The talking ability that he has, and I watched the WWE 24 documentary, and I said I'd cry about it for the entire podcast, but I didn't. Instead, I will mention it right now. Watching these old clips of him from when he was, like, a child, like 15-year-old Drew in, like, the ring doing promos and shit, suddenly I realized, I was like, oh, he's always been like this. He's always been him. And he said, like, the one thing that was awesome is that, like, after the whole thing with 3MB, after being released, he went to ICW, he just got into the fucking ring, like, as his big return, and just started talking like he normally talks. And everyone fucking loved it. He was like, oh, you're just like me. Vibes. I was like, God damn it. So now whenever he goes off, I feel like I'm just going to be like, well, at least he's having fun. And that's what matters most. And then we go into this next match, which brought me down a couple notches.
This was not a good match.
We have a John Cone problem tonight. I hate to say it, because John Cone is my favorite little lad in the ring. Chip Henderson, my man. So we got Keith Lee versus Braun Strowman. We start, you know, this had the promises of a good match because they're big ass dudes. But no, we start with a headlock on Braun. Keith runs face first into Braun's shoulder, and Braun kind of does like a goofy little, okay, sure. Keith then runs back into Braun, sending him backwards this time, but setting him up for a drop kick from Braun, which, watching a man of Braun's size and stature do a drop kick is pretty impressive. So I was like, oh, hell yeah, we've got a match. This sends Lee out of the ring. Braun Strowman gets out, does the Strowman Express to Keith. Except, I guess he doesn't actually, because Keith punches him in the face the moment he gets up to him and just stops him dead. Then they're throwing some punches around. Braun shoves Lee into the steel steps, and then as he does that, John Cone says, and 10, you're counted out, baby boy. I said, Chip, I don't even think that was 10 seconds, like, for real, for real. What? But I guess he got counted out. Braun gets pissed off about this. So he shoves Lee all the way through the barricade. The refs escort him out, but Keith stands up and runs off the stairs to attack Braun. Then he throws Braun into the LCD screen at the top of the ramp, and then off the stage and onto the table or whatever platform rests below the side of the stage.
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
But this must have been the same ref that counted for Asuka when she went to go help Kairi.
No. John Cone did not do that. That was goofy blonde ref. Not Charles, but goofy short hair blonde ref. I don't respect.
Both were bad.
John just had a slip up today.
John was just living in Zoomsville.
John was like, man, I wish I could be on those screens. 8, I guess. 9, 10, sure. John really had to pee.
That's the end of that fight, right? That weird, dumb fight that didn't need to happen.
It so did not register in my mind. I didn't even highlight the fucking thing.
So after that, we had, another promo featuring Bianca Belair. We love Bianca. We do. She's great. She's one of the best women's wrestlers in Raw right now. But these stupid promos are so dumb. Or it's just her being super competitive. And I get it. They're lining her up to be a title contender for the Raw Women's title. Or SmackDown Women's title, wherever she ends up after the draft. It's just, they're so bad. They're so poorly done. I'm tired of them. And there's only been 2. But after that, we had a promo with Drew Gulak, where he is hiding with the 24/7 title. And then goes into the trash room where he encounters a ref and R-Truth popping out of a dumpster. Backs up into a trash can that has Akira Tozawa in it. So I guess Akira Tozawa either just likes hanging out in trash cans or magically knew that Drew was going to be there. I guess he could also have known R-Truth was there and then just hid there as well. But R-Truth and Tozawa and Drew all get into the dumpster and start fighting in there. The ref starts counting as all of them are in the dumpster. And he pulls out R-Truth holding the title. And so R-Truth is new 24/7, I-95 South, 7-Eleven, 365. They made me watch all Reno 911 title holder. And that's that. And then lastly, we move on to Bobby, Shelton, and MVP, all of Hurt Business in the ring, talking their mouths off about Apollo and Ricochet and Mustafa. I guess talking more about how everyone should join them, how they're making fat stacks, stuff like that. And yeah, that's it. And then we move on to the fight.
Yeehaw! Hurt LLC versus Ricochet and Apollo. Let's dive in. So first of all, MVP has definitely killed Cedric. I don't know where he is. I don't know why we have not seen him. I don't know why he has not been referenced. And I don't know why I have not seen a single article asking about where the fuck he is. So, concerned entirely. Also, MVP calls T-Bar T-Bag.
Oh, God. Oh, that's so good.
So we immediately get, actually, rather, I should also mention, in spite of the fact that Hurt Business said that they have an opening for anybody with Apollo and MVP, or Apollo and MVP, Apollo and Ricochet and Mustafa. And of course, after that promo, by the way, I don't think we talked about this. Ricochet like kind of took a pause, like maybe. But Ricochet has the microphone as they walk out. Mustafa is now wearing Apollo's shirt, which he was wearing for the earlier promo. I thought that was very sweet, and I loved it. But Ricochet has the microphone, and he's like, I don't want to leave you guys hanging on that offer. I'm sorry, guys. Like turning back to like his two friends, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing this today. And then Ricochet is like, fuck you. It's going to be a no from us. I'm so sorry. Salutations. So this kind of pisses everyone off. The Hurt Business, MVP tells Shelton and Lashley to particularly target Ricochet. So when Ricochet is in, Shelton starts off. He does an axe handle to Ricochet's spine, and Ricochet kind of fights out of a submission hold under Shelton's arm. Ricochet tries to sunset flip Shelton, but Shelton gets him in the armbar, and Ricochet grabs the rope. Lashley gets in and slams Ricochet into the canvas. Ricochet apparently is never going to get to tag Apollo in at that rate. There's a kick to Lashley's face and then a drop kick. This gets Apollo in. They do their cute little team forearms to Lashley, sending him over the ropes. MVP gives Bobby a little pep talk. And then once we come back from commercial, Ricochet's neck is against the ropes with Lashley's knee in the back of his head. So I guess it worked. There's then a suplex to Ricochet from Lashley, and Lashley is looking to wrench Ricochet's arm. He frees himself, and Lashley shoves his neck back into the ropes. Ricochet, in this moment, slaps MVP. And so Lashley slams him backwards into the canvas as a repayment, if you will. Shelton's in. Ricochet has the wherewithal to ensiguri him and tag in Apollo. Apollo comes in with a fucking fury. He's slamming Shelton. He takes Lashley off the ropes. He frog splashes Benjamin and then just kind of starts pummeling him in the corner. There's a spine buster to Shelton and then a standing moonsault. Lashley breaks up the cover, which really just fucking grinds my gears sometimes. Ricochet gets in. He super kicks Lashley and then face buster to Ricochet. Poor man. Poor goddamn man. But Cruz kicks Lashley and then elbows Shelton. He pulls off a released German suplex. Shelton pulls off a released German suplex to Apollo.
The Appa.
No. The Appa. There's always like one flub every single time we do this, and I never catch it usually until today.
What was it yesterday?
Kushida.
Koosh. Hey, Koosh.
I really do my best to not fuck it up, and then like I'll hit like a couple episodes in a row where I just like my brain's not here.
Hey Koosh, it's Appa. How you doing, man?
Anyways, Lashley gets in and he's ready for the full Lashley or the spear or whatever. Cruz avoids it by diving over Lashley. There's a kick to the back of the neck, which pisses Lashley off just enough to spike Cruz into the mat. And then he gets the full Lashley on him, and shocker of all shockers, Apollo taps out, and we move on. We're never going to see the end of this feud, I guess. Maybe.
Well, actually, yeah, with what happens today, probably very soon. But after that, we had a little bit of Murphy and Aaliyah backstage. The 32-year-old and the 19-year-old, who they're trying to put a love angle on, or a romance angle, something. It's so gross.
I would rather a mandible claw. I would rather a mandible claw be shoved in my fucking mouth, and I have the worst gag reflex of anyone alive, so...
And Aaliyah even said, like, are you okay? You didn't text me at all last night. That's the weirdest, because it's like, last night? You guys text, like, in bed or something?
He's 30! Oh my god. As I've said before, I've made mistakes. I've made many mistakes. I went to college. I never dated a fucking 30-year-old. Maybe 26, but 30.
Yes, it's legal, but, like, it's gross. It's weird. It's morally wrong.
In theory, if you're a 30-year-old and you look at a 19-year-old and you're like, that's viable, you got a problem. I'm so sorry. I'm not sorry, actually. You got a problem. Figure it out. It's a no for me, dog.
But moving quickly past that, we have a promo with the Hurt Business, where they're backstage, and they run into Mustafa. Where Mustafa just kind of stands up to them and is like, hey, MVP, we got a match later. I'm going to kick your ass, and after I kick your ass, I'm going to kick Bobby's ass, I'm going to kick Shelton's ass, and then all your asses are going to be hurting business.
I really thought that he was going to be like, hey, is that offer still open? And the moment he did it, I was like, I live to see another day, thank God, okay.
And then after that, we had Seth in the ring. Yeah, New Year's Eve, the ball dropped.
Countdown!
And yeah, Seth was in the ring, and we were counting down to the when Seth had to apologize to Murphy, and so they're in the ring together. Seth's in the ring. Murphy comes out, and Seth says, "I'm waiting for your apology." And then that just ticks Murphy off, because he was expecting an apology from Seth, even though he shouldn't have been expecting that. He was wanting one. He gets in the ring and kind of faces off with Seth. Seth just keeps belittling him, berating him, until Murphy finally snaps. Similar to how a kendo stick snaps. Which is exactly what Murphy uses to beat up Seth real quick. He starts just like punching him, kneeing him, shit like that, and then gets a kendo stick out, starts beating him with that, but then gets him on the ground, has him kind of begging. Seth apologizes to Aaliyah for getting her involved, saying that he didn't intend for her to get involved. Which seems very fake, because either you intended to get her involved or you intended to get Dominic involved. So either way, no good. And then Murphy lets his guard down. Seth tackles Murphy, grabs a kendo stick, starts beating him. And then the Mysterios come out. Seth runs away, and they're kind of left in the ring together. And then shortly, they just leave Murphy there. And as they're walking up the ramp, Dominic looks at Aaliyah and says, Why do you have the need? Why do you need to do that?
What's the need?
What's the need?
You know what, Dominic? I relate. with that alone, they got Dominic over on me. I was like, yeah, you're right. What the fuck is the need?
Yeah, this is Dominic's. Instead of this being like Aaliyah's push or Murphy's push, this is Dominic's push.
I just want Dominic to go into the writer's room now and say, but seriously, guys, what the fuck is the need?
Also, why are Ray and Angie allowing WWE to write about their 19-year-old having a relationship with a 32-year-old?
Now, I'm just going to say this again from the perspective of a person who has not only a father but also a stepfather, who are two men who think that they're very strong and intimidating. They're not. If I were in this position and I were being written to have a relationship with a 30-some-odd-year-old person and I was 19, they would both 100% be like, that's a no for me, dog. You're getting locked in your room. At whichever of our houses, you're getting locked in the room. I'm sorry. You're staying home. You're not ever going back outside. I would have been like, no. And then in retrospect, I would have been like, yeah, that's probably fair. That's probably fair. That's probably fair. The fact, I get it. It's acting. But
it's still kind of on the line of endorsing that kind of thing.
Yeah, because here's the thing, is that there's a lot of people who watch wrestling who just don't fucking get it. And it still shocks me to this day that people don't get it. But there's a lot of people who just kind of don't see the fact that this is fake. And it also makes me kind of uncomfortable because it's like, oh, you're showing this child in like a relationship with an adult and like, and it lets people run wild with their imaginations. And I don't really want to see that. I don't need that in my life.
Little do the people at WWE know how fast artists are with drawing porn, creating fan fictions, all that kind of stuff. So you look hard enough, you'll find.
Like, she's so young. It's just like she's so young that like this is like something that, again, the 19-year-old aspect is not kayfabe. That's real. She's so young that like if this ends up being something where she like looks back and she's like, what did I do? It's not going away.
Mm-hmm.
This is all on WWE's YouTube now. So like, it just, oh man, yikes, brother. She's 19. 19. She's a pretty 19-year-old. She's a very pretty woman. Good job, Angie. I'm not giving Ray any credit on that one. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all Angie's genes.
Angie did that. Good job, Angie. Ray can have credit for Dom.
Yeah.
But she's a very pretty girl, which further conflicts me because I'm just like, there's going to be a lot of men watching this fucking show just being like, yeah. And I'm just sitting there like, no.
Especially like the generic wrestling fan that's like in a low income rural town, which is like that's the target audience for wrestling. What? You cut yourself? You cut yourself?
Not really sure.
Okay.
I had a little hangnail I picked on. Suddenly there was blood on my finger, and I said,
okay. Well, with
reminded me of my mortality for a second there.
Well, with that said, we're moving on to the next fight. The only title fight today.
Oh, and that's me.
Yep, that is you.
How do you do? All right, we had Nia and Shayna versus Riot Squad. I have chest pains. I think I got a little too worked up about Buddy and Aaliyah. Sorry. In the wise words of Dominic, what's the need? All right, so Nia and Shayna versus Riot Squad. gonna be honest, every fucking time I see another Nia and Shayna match, I'm sold even further on them. So, immediately as they're announcing this, as the announcers are like doing that like little like title graphic, you can hear Nia arguing with someone in the ring, and you can't tell who. It's Shayna. It's not even their competitors. It's Shayna.
Of course.
But Nia immediately shoves Liv, who tags Ruby in. Ruby slams into Nia and tags Liv back in. Liv jumps on Ruby's back, and Ruby drops her into Nia because they're both small and put together. They are at least one Nia Jax, maybe. Probably not. Nia and Ruby are in together now, and Ruby gets hung up on the top rope. Nia slams into her, sending her deflated little body to the ground. Nia reluctantly tags Shayna in. Shayna slams Ruby into the apron, gets her back in the ring, gets a wrist submission into the elbow stomp, and my god, did I forget how much that makes my stomach fucking turn. God, it's been a while since we saw a successful one, and even when you see it close up now, I'm kind of like, oh, okay, I get it. But still, my brain's like, I don't. I'm like, okay, that's fair. But then she gets a hammerlock on Ruby, and then she does the other fucking thing that also upsets me, where she snaps Ruby's shoulder. And again, my body was like, me tendons. And so Shayna then throws Ruby from the ring and tags Nia in. Nia lifts Ruby up to her feet, slams her into the apron repeatedly. Sorry, I missed a very important note. Liv is on the corner, waiting to be tagged in, while Shayna decimates Ruby, just screaming. And Shayna just goes up to her like, oh, it's so sad. And then goes back to fucking obliterating Ruby, and I was like, Shayna, stop. Be nice. Be nice. So yeah, Nia lifts Ruby up to her feet. Ruby's out of the ring at this point, but she lifts Ruby up to her feet, slams her into the apron twice. Liv is now screeching. Ruby sends an elbow to Shayna to get Liv in, who then continues to scream the entire time she does all of her moves. I love Liv to death, but the screaming's gotta stop. She kicks Shayna, and then she's starting to attack both women, which is very impressive, until Nia sends her to the canvas with a forearm. Liv gets up onto the top buckle. She's looking like she's going for the head scissors. Nia's going for the power bomb. Then Liv counters and slips down her back, going for the sunset flip. It does not work. Nia's got a very grounded center of gravity. Finally, she gets to a point where she can tag Shayna in, and like, I don't know how Nia was meant to play this off, but it actually kind of made my little heart sing in a weird way. Because Shayna's like dying to be tagged in, and Nia goes and is like, "Are you good? Like, are you sure you can come in and fight?" I was like, y'all are checking on each other. I feel warm inside. I love them. They're chaotic. It gives me joy. So Shayna gets in. Liv avoids Shayna sending her knee into the buckle. Gets Ruby in. Ruby takes Nia off the ropes. Liv is somehow still around. She double stomps Shayna's back. Ruby... Actually, I think Liv got in and then did that. And then she gets Ruby back in. Ruby's setting up for the Riot kick to Shayna, and Nia takes care of Liv, who's starting to kind of like... Ruby's holding Shayna. Liv was about to do the Riot kick. Nia just fucking takes her out. Nia takes Liv into the next fucking room, basically. This gives Shayna the opportunity to knee strike Ruby into a Kirifuda clutch. Nia once again neutralizes Liv as a threat. Ruby taps out. Shayna does not fucking release until Ruby is 100% not breathing. And I said, Shayna, stop.
And now they've pretty much confirmed that we're going to carry this until Hell in a Cell.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I just think it's so funny that the way that they got Nia and Shayna over on me was by putting them together in a fucking team.
Yeah, and it's also helping Nia find kind of her niche when it comes to wrestling.
She's a person. She's a person with emotions.
Yeah.
And a personality. Oh my god.
When she let out that scream during the match, I was like, Nia's got a personality.
And like after they won, I don't know if you caught it, but like Nia's just like sitting, like she pulled herself up on the ropes and she's just like smiling, and I was like,
I missed that.
ma'am? I don't know you. But and I think the thing is that's interesting because like I genuinely did not think that there's anything that they could ever do for Nia Jax to make me be like, yeah, sure. This is it.
All they needed was Shayna.
For whatever reason, yeah. I'm happy.
And then we move on to our final promo of the night. We see the Street Profits backstage where they kind of just condemn Randy for what he did to the Legends. And just they're out for blood, out for Randy's blood specifically. But even more so out for Randy's blood is Drew McIntyre, who steps in and says he's going to kick the crap out of Orton. And that's it. Then we move on to the second to last match of the night, which is a fucking doozy.
Yeah. So to go into this, let me just start by saying, what the fuck? I went from excited about Retribution to holy shit, I hate Retribution to I'm actually pretty hyped about Retribution to like tonight where I'm just like, I could not imagine anything fucking better than this goddamn storyline. Not really sure how I got to this point. Don't remember most of it, but we're here now. Slapjack.
T-Bar. Mace. Reckoning.
I just like slap.
Retaliation.
Does this mean Mustafa's name is Retribution?
No, Mustafa's name is Mustafa.
Oh, okay, cool.
Or not Dominic Dijakovic. AIM away message.
AIM away message always fucking gets me the most. I don't know why. Except for Fizz. If you haven't, you really should check out all of the fun fake fucking Retribution names because we read them out loud one night and I was in pain from laughing. So we have this the what does he call himself? He's not the CEO. He's the
Bobby is the CEO of the Hurt Business. MVP, I don't know.
CFC. He's like the chief financial officer or something that's stupid like that.
Yeah.
CFO. He's the CFO of the Hurt Business. So we've got the CFO of the Hurt Business. For some reason, it's very much like Dwight Schrute in The Office, where it's like, so even in your fantasy, you're still like the second guy up. You're not the CEO. You're not the president. You're the CFO. All right, sure. You could have run wild with that, and you're the biggest fucking mouth on that goddamn. Are they called stables when it's 3 people? I don't think it is. I think stables 4. I don't care. Anyways, ridiculous. So we start off. Mustafa's looking like shit. MVP sends some knees to Mustafa's midsection and then plants him into the canvas before dropping a knee into his upper torso. They're exchanging blows. Mustafa's thrown into the turnbuckle and then gets just fucking clotheslined into the goddamn ground. He dodges a punch in order to kick MVP in the face with a little drop kick. And then Bobby and Shelton jump in. And they corner Mustafa, who's looking a little fucking frightened. And then the lights go down. And Retribution's little logo comes up. And
also,
suddenly... Oh?
Well, prior to this, during the promo with Mustafa and Hurt Business, Mustafa was like... with Apollo, Ricochet, and Mustafa, they were like, you guys were scared of some darkness in the Retribution logo?
Oh boy, oh boy. I didn't see this shit coming, actually. Like, realistically, I guess I could have been like, maybe, but yeah, we get T-Bar, Slapjack, Mace, all out there, all alive, all just ready to fucking get some blood. And MVP's like, Mustafa, you have to help me. Like, you have to help us, protect us. Like, figure it out. We're not fighting them alone. You're not fighting them alone. We have to be a team. Mustafa's like, yeah, sure, fine. Finally, Mustafa jumps out of the fucking ring and approaches T-Bar and not Dio Madden in like a full-blown face-off. And Dio's making the weird fucking eyes. I was like, I in my head, I thought that he was just going to walk past them and kind of establish that Retribution just fucking hates Hurt Business. And then Mustafa just turns around and faces the Hurt Business, and he's like, get him. And I said, oh!
Say hello to your new member of Retribution. Jason Derulo just fell down the stairs of the Met Gala.
How dare you bring my favorite meme into this? Okay. So, yeah.
Do you want me to finish off?
Oh, I've got to do my Drew McIntyre fight. I'm getting an ab workout now.
So Mustafa just sends all the members of Retribution out to attack all of the members of Hurt Business. They're all beat to shit, and then they all get in the ring around Mustafa. Mustafa says, "Turn to the camera, boys, and pose." And then they all pose. Mustafa does the hand, like the Iron Man hand thing without the glove. I don't know why that's his gimmick.
But it still worked this time because when he closed his fist, the lights went out. I was like, oh, cool. Okay, fine. At least that's a useful use for your powers. I don't know. I was not expecting this whatsoever.
Maybe we'll finally get closer to the hacker.
I think Sean Ross Sapp tweeted that, like, if they don't tie that in, that's a waste.
Yeah.
But that would be a great fucking way to do it because, I mean, the hacker's whole thing was, like, kind of bringing down WWE one way or the other. And Mustafa was ordered to be the hacker.
And the fact that with Mustafa being the leader of Retribution, it wouldn't make sense for him to just, or for Retribution to be on SmackDown randomly. But if he was the hacker, that would be the perfect way to tie it in.
Mm-hmm.
But we have one more fight.
One more fight. All right. So this fight is called, holy shit, how many good goddamn intro songs can we fucking have? Randall and Dolph and Robert Roode versus Ruby Booby and the Street Profits. Christ. I've got a lot more notes for this than I thought I did. So Randy immediately leaves the ring the moment Drew's in it. Just like, yeah, thank you. So it's Drew versus Robert first. Robert tries to sneak in, distracting McIntyre and allowing Roode to kind of stomp him around a little bit and shove him. Roode lets his little blonde chihuahua into the ring. Drew sidesteps him, sending Dolph face first into the top buckle. Randy goes for the RKO, but Drew stops him. And then Tez dives over the ropes, over the top rope, onto Robert, Roode, and Ziggler. We cut to commercial when we come back. Dolph is, for some reason, Dolph, who was not in the ring last. Dawkins, who was not in the ring last. And this is always the shit that kind of throws me a little bit. I'm like, how did we get here? Dolph is screaming at Dawkins for whatever reason. Dawkins tags Montez in, and Montez is just clotheslining the shit out of Ziggler before slashing down onto him. Roode interferes on the cover, and Montez dropkicks him, goes back to Dolph, belly to back suplex, and then a standing moonsault. Hello, cat. Montez goes against the ropes, and Randall grabs his ankles. Yeah. Oh, hi. All right. You may have just seen her paw there. Hi, princess. But Randall grabs his ankles. He doesn't pull Montez anywhere. He just distracts him because Montez then turns around and is like, hey, that was me. This gets Robert Roode in, who does a spine buster onto Montez. Now Randy's in. Montez is out of the ring, and Randy grabs him up and sends him spine first into the announce desk. And then uppercuts Montez. Montez punches Randall in the midsection, and then Randy kicks him. Randy then takes Dawkins off the apron, and after taking Dawkins off the apron, he kind of goes towards Drew, who kind of like leans into him, and Randall's just like, don't fucking get near me. Don't touch me. Then there's a DDT to Randy from Montez, gets Drew in. So now it's Dolph and Drew. Dolph avoids a forearm, but not the second one. This is the first. Doesn't get that second one. That one takes him out. Then Drew does... Are you going to bite me? The nerve. The nerve of some people in this house. Drew then does the thing that I love that he does to smaller people when he's pissed off at them, which is just back-to-back exploder suplexes, where he just, like, launches them. And Dolph is very good at just flying through the fucking air. Drew then sends Randy face first into the turnbuckle to just kind of keep him away. And then starts clobbering Randy until Ziggler and Roode get in to intercept and punch Drew in the corner. Dawkins tags in on Drew. Drew gets a Glasgow kiss off on Roode, but then he gets super kicked by Dolph. Dawkins gets in and goes for the anointment, but Dolph counters with a DDT. And we get Randy doing Randy shit, where he does the Draper DDT, but not before doing his weird fucking the weird fucking shit that he does before the Draper DDT. I don't know why he does it, but every time he does, I'm just like, Randy, come on.
It's just like he looks around and goes, and then does it.
I don't know why. Anyways, so he gets the Draper DDT onto Dawkins. Dawkins is just laying there, and Randy says, and now it's time for jazz hands, and spins around, does his little slither. I like to hurt my shoulders.
Yeah, break his shoulders a little bit.
Pop them into place, pop them out of place, I don't know. Everything's a mystery. But Dawkins finally gets to do his anointment onto Randy while he's being just a strange little fucker. And then a frog splash to the Viper from Montez. Roode and Dolph interfere on the cover. Montez enzuigiri's Roode. Ziggler attacks him. Drew tags in. Famous to Montez. A Claymore to Dolph sends him over the ropes like Charles Robinson in the Universal title match fight. And Randy Randy's gone. Robert Roode interferes. He gets claymored. Drew kips up, and you think, okay, this is going in our favor. Good job. We got a kip up. And then Randy says, no, RKO.
Jason Derulo fell off the mat at the Universal title fight.
Mark, if there's one thing you want to get me for the upcoming holiday season, I need a Photoshop of that. I'm begging. I beg for very few things. Because if you don't, I will.
Okay.
Just think on it. Think on it. Picture's famous enough, so. So yeah, Drew gets RKO'd. Randy wins. And then what are you doing? Okay. Anyways. And then the announcers are like, oh, is this gonna affect Drew? Like, coming up with Hell in a Cell after getting pinned by Randy Orton? And I'm like, it's just gonna make him more mad. That's his thing. He just gets mad. He doesn't get anything else. He just gets mad. There's never been a point in time where I saw Drew and he was like, well, you know, I did just get pinned by Bobby and, you know, I'm really upset about it. I don't know how it's gonna go for me at this upcoming pay-per-view. Drew's just like, no. Now, instead of breaking off one of his arms, I'm gonna break off two of his arms. I'm like,
I mean, he had his jaw wired shut before Clash. He still won that.
Not tired enough.
Yeah, that's our Monday Night Raw for tonight. Doozy. And now we move on to the best of the night.
We're making good time. Might actually, you know, get my work done tonight.
I can almost guarantee we're not going to agree on much tonight. Maybe promo.
I don't know. I don't think my picks are going to be obvious.
Oh, okay.
But also, I never actually know what my picks are until you start running through everything.
So because there was so much, and there were so many fighters tonight, we only had one singles fight, and that was between Braun and Keith, and also MVP and Mustafa. I'm gonna do like a second place for fighter as well.
Okay.
So we'll start with promo of the night. We started off with Randy recapping how he destroyed all of the legends. We had R-Truth losing his title to Drew Gulak. We had a promo with Mustafa, Ricochet, Apollo, and MVP where MVP made the offer to join him. We had Seth and Murphy talking in the ring where Murphy mad, Seth mad. Adam Pearce encountered by Braun. The KO show, which was kind of being led into tonight. That was kind of the big promo for tonight. Featuring Bray. Whole kinds of hilarity that came out of this, and just really good stuff that we got out of it. I very much enjoyed this promo. We had the Murphy and Seth promo, which I forgot, which was backstage. We had the Drew interview, which is just a regular old interview. We had the lame-ass Bianca promo. We had the always fun 24/7 title promo, which featured Drew Gulak losing it to R-Truth. We had Bobby, Shelton, MVP talking in the ring, you know, like they always do. Murphy and Aaliyah, disgusting. Hurt Business promo, featuring Mustafa, which that was good. It was okay. We had Seth in the ring, where he gets assaulted by Murphy. Again, part of the storyline that's absolutely disgusting, and I hate it. We had the Street Profits promo, which was okay. But my pick for promo of the night, I think it's obvious. It's the KO show featuring Bray Wyatt with a minor appearance from Aleister Black. I think that's just the only thing that really excited me today.
Did you not count Retribution as a promo?
No, I count that as part of the match.
Then yeah, I agree. It was the best promo that had like some real meat to it.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and plus it's a storyline that we haven't seen before, which we always enjoy. I know I joke about this a lot, but I never mean it when I joke about it. I really wish that they had given Drew just an opportunity to just have the mic instead of being interviewed. Because again, while I joke about it, I mean it. Drew does not need to be interviewed.
Yeah.
Drew cuts better promos when he's just talking shit for 5 minutes than when he's being asked questions.
Mm-hmm.
People ask him questions and it just doesn't go the same way. He needs to get on like that train of talking. And I really wish that they'd give him that tonight after the whole thing that happened last week. I feel like that would have been better, but whatever. We'll probably get that next week. I can't complain too much.
The fighter of the night?
Yeehaw! Alright,
so this was a long one. So we started off with Zelina and Lana and Natalya versus Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, and Asuka. I'm gonna pick Asuka here. It was either between Asuka or Mandy for this fight. I just think Asuka landed the most moves and looked the most energetic and had the most variety when it came to her moveset than anybody else. I guess she was just the most exciting one to watch. Yeah, I mean, there wasn't much in this fight anyway to really talk so highly of it, and anyone involved. But not to say Asuka did poorly. Asuka looked great, as she should, since she's the Raw Women's Champion, but again, there's not much here to take away from. And then we had Seth and Murphy versus Dominic and Humberto. This one was tough for me to pick from. I want to say Dominic for this. Just because his style allows me to be more impressed by. But I also want to consider Murphy here. Because Murphy had some great looking moves. Although he didn't have too many, he showed off that personality that Dominic didn't show off. Although Seth was the louder personality, Murphy kind of tied it into his fighting better. Seth was very much just screaming the whole time, like, obvious, this is my character. Murphy tied it in very subtly with his fighting, and then he landed a very sick knee onto, I think it was Humberto, as he was flying off the ropes. Murphy kneed him right in the chest. I think that was for the pin. And yeah, I'll give it to Murphy for that fight. And then after that, we had Braun Strowman versus Keith, and I guess I'll pick Braun for this. I don't really know. Neither of them looked amazing this fight. Braun never looks amazing in his fights. Keith, only when he's in main event matches does he look great. So yeah, nobody looked good here, unfortunately. And then we have the Hurt Business versus Ricochet and Apollo. I picked Apollo for this fight. Apollo really surprised me today. I think he looked fantastic, although, again, there wasn't much to pick from here. Apollo really just... all of his moves looked fantastic, but they gotta give him something else with the full Nelson. They gotta have him break out of it. They gotta have him counter it. Something to make these fights a little more dynamic. And then we move on to Shayna and Nia versus the Riot Squad, and I picked Shayna here. Shayna didn't look as amazing as she did when she was up against Bayley and Sasha, but she still looked great. I love watching the elbow stomp, even though it looks hell painful and I can probably feel it. She always looks great, and I think her bouncing off of Nia is the best thing for both of them. It adds a lot more character to Shayna and Nia, but it makes Shayna just an even more impressive wrestler and an even better character at the end of the day. And then we had MVP versus Mustafa, which was barely a fight. We didn't really get much here as far as an actual fight goes. So I'm not gonna pick anyone here because there was like no fight. And then lastly, Randy Orton, Robert Roode, and Dolph Ziggler versus Street Profits and Drew McIntyre. In this fight, I gotta go with Montez. Everyone in this fight looked fantastic. Dolph, Robert, Randy, Drew, both the Street Profits, but Montez, I think he had the most energy. I mean, he always has the most energy, but you really felt that in the ring, not just when he screams and shakes the rope. Everything he did was fantastic and really had an impact in the ring, which I think is the most important part in Montez's fights. A lot of times he's hyped up, but does he really have impact in the ring? And he really did today. And if we're just talking about base moves, Montez will always be the most impressive in this fight. But even outside of the moves, Montez was still the most exciting one to watch. Even spiced it up a little bit when he jumped over Dolph at one point. He's always spicing up his moveset, and I think he's really just the most impressive wrestler to watch right now. Aside from Johnny Gargano. But with all that said, my pick for fighter of the night, with second place being Apollo, my pick is Montez Ford.
So I agree with you on your first place. I do. However, for second place, I don't really know if this matters to argue or not, but for second place, I probably would have gone with Shayna.
I was thinking Shayna.
I really liked how she fought tonight.
Yeah.
That was classic Shayna. So that would be my second place, but Montez did look goddamn amazing, and every time he does his fucking frog splash, I grit my fucking teeth because I'm like, you're so far up, Montez. I know you just float to the ground like a little feather. However, but I really wanted to choose Drew tonight. I was hoping that after last week we would see a massive return. I also didn't expect that entirely because it was a 6-man tag match.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can shine in one of those. I did want to see Drew or Randy looking great, and in spite of getting the RKO and getting the Claymore and getting the Glasgow kiss, it was just a little too fuzzy, and just a little too discordant.
And I think one thing we need to consider is that Drew and Randy aren't really tag fighters, so when you put them in a tag match, they're not going to shine as well as wrestlers whose specialties are tag teams, like Montez, like Dawkins, like Robert Roode and Dolph.
Right, and I think that I know for a fact, I can say this right now, Randy versus Drew at Hell in a Cell, that will almost definitely be my contender. I can almost guarantee right now that's going to definitely be up there. But yeah, I don't think that I've ever liked a tag match that Randy was in, and I think the only tag match that I really liked that Drew was in was the one with R-Truth.
Mm-hmm.
That was just fucking perfect. But it's just how the cookie crumbles. I know next week will be better.
You mean you didn't like that tag match between Viking Raiders, Angel and Andrade, Randy Orton, and Big Show? I thought that was great when Randy pulled Angel Garza aside and like slapped the shit out of him.
I liked it, but I didn't really love it for like Randy, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I liked the whole picture, but again, Randy still like wasn't there for me. With the Drew McIntyre R-Truth Hurt Business fight, I like Drew because Drew was there.
Right.
You know? I could separate him from that and still be like, amazing. So that's just me
though. So fight of the night?
Yes.
So we start off with Zelina and Lana and Natalya versus Mandy, Dana, and Asuka. Kind of annoying how today was mostly tag fights. I thought this match was okay. I didn't hate it. I thought everyone kind of looked decent. Nobody looked horrible. But there wasn't much here. It didn't last very long. And nobody was like shining. But we move into Seth and Murphy versus Dominik, Mysterio, and Humberto Carrillo. And it was a good match. It was really good. It was good to see Seth and Murphy, their interactions outside of the ring during this, and kind of how that interacts with the match. Dominik and Humberto, though, were basically wet towels. They landed some good moves, but you weren't watching this match for them. You were watching this for Seth and Murphy. And I feel like if you're watching a match, you want to be watching for all the competitors and the fight that ensues between them. And after that, we had Braun versus Keith. Very short match that somehow was counted out. Did not feel like it should have been. And it was just lame. I didn't like it. After that, we had Hurt Business versus Ricochet and Apollo. Decent match. Not bad. Everyone kind of looked good. I don't remember a single moment where Shelton was in the ring at all. I also don't remember a single move that Ricochet landed. But I do remember Apollo looked good. And it ended with a full Nelson, which I am tired of. They gotta change it up. They gotta have Apollo break out of it, or they gotta have Bobby, like, kill somebody with it. Or have him just use a different move.
And we talked about this when we were watching it, and I think the thing is that this move would be really cool. Like, for example, Shayna's move, and a lot of wrestlers have this because it's wrestling and you have a finisher. Shayna's move, the Kirifuda clutch, super fucking cool. I love seeing it happen. I think it's awesome. Asuka lock, same thing. Claymore kick, same thing. And I like it because I've seen it on a variety of fucking people, and it works. I've seen Bobby full Nelson, Apollo, Ricochet, Cedric, and maybe Mustafa, I think.
Drew.
Well, more so, I mean, over the course of 15 goddamn matches. Maybe 14 now, I'm sorry.
No, 15 now, 15.
Oh, it's 15 now? Okay, cool. If we were seeing this on, like, you know, Drew and then Apollo, and even if it was Drew, Apollo, Ricochet, Cedric, Mustafa, someone else, I would still be fine with it. But because we've seen it, you know, on whoever else, but like also in our recent history, Drew, Apollo, Ricochet, Cedric, Apollo, Ricochet, Apollo, Ricochet, Apollo. It's like I need something else. The definition of insanity.
And it just makes Apollo look like an idiot that he hasn't figured out how to break out of it yet.
Or hasn't figured out how to like be like, hey, this is about to happen to me. I should get away. And maybe just, you know, turn myself so I'm facing. Because he did that in the first place. And I was like, oh, he finally did it. Because Bobby was setting up for either, because he does the crouching down thing before he does his spear, and he also does it before going into the full Nelson. I was like, when Apollo got up that first time, I was like, yeah, awesome, good job, buddy, you did it. And then the second time around, I was like, Apollo, I know you're better than this. I know you're an amazing wrestler. Why are we doing this every fucking week now?
But moving on from that fight, we had Shayna and Nia versus the Riot Squad. A really good fight. I wish we had seen more from Riot Squad. They were kind of non-existent except for Liv screeching the whole time. Ruby, just like always, is just there to get her ass beat. I feel like every single fight, whether it's a singles or a tag fight, she's always there to just get beat. And it sucks. And I'm hoping we get a better fight at Hell in a Cell. But if we're just looking at Nia and Shayna, they both looked fantastic. And the fact that they're both finding their niches and working great off of each other as a tag team, that is good enough for me. I love it. And I can't wait to see where they take it from here, which is something I rarely ever say about Raw. And then after that, we had MVP versus Mustafa. A fight that didn't really end. But the fight itself was very meh. Mustafa looked shitty. MVP looked shitty. But it did lead into probably the most exciting moment of the night, where we were revealed to that Mustafa was the leader of Retribution. Super exciting, amazing, awesome. But we still didn't get an end to the fight, technically. Still no contest.
To be fair, before Retribution, well, rather, I kind of expected Retribution to come out, because but when he was first cornered, I thought that the ending to this fight was going to be full Nelson. So in a weird way, after everything I just said, kind of glad we didn't see an end to this fight. I think that was kind of God stepping in for us and being like, it's okay, baby, you've seen enough. You've seen enough.
Yeah. But it sucks because it was such a great moment that we kind of it does lower the quality of the actual fight itself. The booked fight that was there. Which, don't get me wrong, the moment was awesome. Having Mustafa as the leader of Retribution is perfect if they can work it around to the hacker, how this impacts Apollo, and Ricochet, and Cedric too. I think they've got a good thing going here. But as far as the fight goes, very subpar. Not the worst fight today. Because Braun versus Keith is the worst fight today. But after that, we have Randy, Robert Roode, and Dolph Ziggler versus the Street Profits and Drew McIntyre. Really good fight. Everything about this fight was fantastic. Everyone looked great, whether it's Roode, Randy, Dolph, Street Profits, or Drew. Everyone had their moments in the ring. Whether it's Drew fighting off all three of them at once with all three Claymore kicks. Randy doing his slithers, being sly outside of the ring. Dolph and Roode teaming up to break Randy out of a cover. And kind of just being a nuisance to Drew and Street Profits. Or Street Profits pulling off high-flying moves and just being absolutely crazy in the ring. Everybody looked fantastic. And I wish there was a little bit more in terms of story for this match. But it kind of puts us in a new step for Randy and Drew. It was kind of necessary that we have this. And also, I loved this because it gives us a different opponent for the Street Profits. That's not just Angel and Andrade. And I'm hoping we get Street Profits versus Robert Roode and Dolph next. Mainly so we can just hear Glorious again. But I think this fight was a very necessary thing that we had to get. And for it being very necessary, I enjoy the hell out of it. This was so much fun to watch. I loved it. And it's my fight of the night. I don't know if that face is good or bad. Oh, it's good. Okay.
Why do you think I wear this shirt?
Because you're consistent.
There. Listen. I got a match with an RKO. I got a Claymore. I got a Glasgow Kiss. I got Montez Ford doing some potentially suicidal moves. I got Robert Roode. And also just like the fact that, again, like you were saying, this sets us up for something other than Angel Andrade for Montez and Dawkins to fight, which isn't totally promised because Angel's only supposed to be gone for a week or two more, I think, after this. So nothing's promised, but still it does bring Robert Roode and Dolph in as tag team contenders, and that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, we still got the same character interaction with Drew and Randy that I love to fucking see. And maybe I will regret saying this 3 months from now if we're still seeing the same fucking fight. Like I said about Seth and Apollo. God damn it. Seth and
Aaliyah.
And Aaliyah. But I'm not tired of Randy and Drew yet. I'm just not. I'm tired of the stress it puts me under. I'm not tired of the actual fight itself.
It's one thing if they were giving us, because this has been a long storyline, but it's one thing if they give us Randy versus Drew repeatedly over and over. They mostly save it for pay-per-views. Otherwise, it's if they're fighting in a tag team. We're never really getting the same fight over and over with these guys.
There's always like a little extra something for them to do off on the side, which I really like.
And even during pay-per-views, the pay-per-view fights are nowhere near the same. The first one at Payback was won by a roll-up. They were not fighting how they normally fight. The second fight was the ambulance match, which was balls to the walls.
It was crazy. And I think also like the thing too is that I want to say here, Jesus Christ. The fact that like it was really smart on their parts. We really, because of the whole Drew's out because he had his jaw wired shut, and now Randy's out because he got Claymored 14 times. The fact that then we had Drew fighting Keith Lee, and then Keith Lee fighting Randy, it's like they kept us at that 6 degrees of separation for an entire month. And that was perfect.
Yeah.
Because now we're seeing Randy fight Drew for the third time, and yeah, I'm getting tired because I know where this is going, and I don't really want to go there, but that's a different story for a different time. But I mean, I'm not upset. I'm not upset yet.
Not at all. There are plenty of other things to be upset about more than this.
So many other things on Raw. Drew and Randy they're up here right now, and I'm just like, my golden geese. And then everything else is here, and I'm like, I can't have time for this.
The upper echelons of Raw right now is Drew and Randy, Nia and Shayna, Retribution now,
Slapjack!
and Kevin Owens, and R-Truth.
Yeah. And that's it. Everything else, it's like, they're up here, and everything else, I'm just like, guys, pull it together. Just pull it together. Come on.
Yeah.
We can do this. I know we can.
Raw Underground is like it's underground. It's the bare bottom.
It's really weird, by the way. I was going to mention this earlier. Not having Raw Underground to break up the evening really throws me. Like, when I'm taking my notes, I'm just like, all of a sudden it's like 10:30. I'm like, how did we get here?
Also,
For Shane.
I want you to know that 10 o'clock hit when Seth was in the ring. After that, from Shayna and Nia versus Riot Squad to the main event, that was all an hour. 1/3 of the night was in that small chunk right there.
I mean, to be fair, the Drew and Randy fight, the 6-man tag match, was still not obvious as to who was winning and who was losing up until 10:59, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, something's got to happen.
Yeah.
And then when Drew Claymored, he Claymored Roode, right?
Roode and Dolph.
Well, he Claymored Dolph, sending him over the ropes. Yeah, Roode got Claymored, and I was like, oh, this is it. We're good. And then Randy came in, and I was like, that last minute lasted like at least 5 minutes. Anywho.
Also, since we're talking about Fight of the Nights right now, I just want to quickly mention something about NXT TakeOver yesterday. That somebody mentioned on Reddit that is a really good point. That whole fight until the last second was entirely in the ring. They didn't step out of the ring once until the very end.
Yeah. Well, oh.
There was one, it might not have been at the very end, but they only stepped out of the ring once.
I mean, yeah, I guess Tez flew out, but...
What? No. I'm talking about TakeOver between Kyle and Finn.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. That was almost entirely in the ring. That was an intense fucking fight, too, and that was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But I will spend the next hour talking about it if you get me on that tangent, so for our sake.
So to run it back, our promo of the night, the KO show with Bray Wyatt. So excited to see where they're taking that. Fight of the night, Montez Ford, and fight of the night, Randy Orton, Robert Roode, and Dolph Ziggler versus the Street Profits and Drew McIntyre.
Yeehaw. All right. So, I will be spending the next Wednesday talking all about the Kyle and Finn fight. You can't stop me. I will do it. But please tune in. Mostly because I'll also probably be crying because I don't know where this Undisputed Era line is going to take us, and I'm kind of scared. Although I did not see a single article after TakeOver from SmackDown on Friday, because that's usually, I'll scroll back until I recognize articles that I already reported on. I have not seen a single article that says, like, well, what does this mean for Undisputed Era? So I feel like we shouldn't read too deeply into it. A lot of times, if it means something, even like in the Vegas sense, they'll usually, like, Wrestle Talk or Cultaholic will say something. But I haven't seen anything like that, so I don't think we should get too crazy there. But even so, tune in on Wednesday. We will be here. We will be talking about NXT live, mind you. Yeah, if you tuned in, thank you. If you didn't tune in, but you tuned in later.
You lagged all at that part. You're frozen now.
Fair. So, hey, can you hear me now? Am I good?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I was just saying, if you tuned in tonight, thank you so much. If you're tuning in later, thank you. Continue to do so. Yes.
Thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hit that follow button below if you enjoyed and want to see more. You'll be notified whenever we go live. And there's a little suggestion box down below the stream where you can let us know what we can do better. We're always looking for feedback, so let us know what you think down in that box below. And follow us on Twitter at the Pinfall Cast. You'll be notified whenever we go live on there, as well as see our picks for Fighter and Fight of the Night in case you missed an episode but still want to see what happens. And we also retweet and tweet about various wrestling stuff. Sometimes we live tweet episodes or pay-per-views. And if you missed part of this episode or want to check out past episodes, check us out on YouTube, the Pinfall Podcast. The NXT TakeOver episode is still not up because it is a 3.5 hour long episode that is taking forever to export. So please, that'll be up tomorrow, followed by this one. So again, that's the Pinfall Podcast on YouTube. We have all of our past podcasts archived there. And follow us on our personal Twitters. I'm at the Mark Cameron. Liz is at ElizaElane23. And that's it. Thank you all so much for watching. We will see you on Wednesday for NXT.